Great games can be rewarding or intensely frustrating. This is no exception. The Philips Videopac computer games system. These plug-in cartridges are all programmed for different games. Cards. Even a challenging round of golf.
Philips, simply years ahead.
Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy. Well, this time it's the Philips Videopac, also known as the Magnavox and a couple of others. I managed to pick this up reasonably recently, wasn't too expensive, came with a bunch of cartridges, but yeah, it's in need of a little bit of TLC. It's suffering a little bit. I don't think there's much I can do about that. It's needing a good clean. Did come with its manual, 2 controllers of which, yeah, this one seems to be missing what we call the knob off the top and the power supply. So yeah, not too bad at all. This is the first time I've actually taken it out of the box that I got it in and unpacked it to have a good look. So let's explore together. In the early 70s, Magnavox pioneered the home video game industry by successfully bringing the first console to market called the Odyssey. In 78, they were a subsidiary of Philips in America, and they released the successor, which is what this is, the Odyssey 2.
So let's strip this down and see what's going on.
Well, so far so good. Those are ridiculous. Those are bolts, they're not screws. It would be so much easier using what looks like a 10mm socket to put these in and out. However, it's out. It's very old school, very, very 70s. You can tell just by the circuit board, the traces, everything. And yes, it does look like it needs a really, really, really good clean just to keep this going. So let's put the RF modulator to the side. We'll open that and check that out separately. And by the way, it does come with the traditional 80s, like 10 foot of RF cable. It's just ridiculous. So we can see it has been designed to be twisted and locked in place. But they haven't used all of the lock points, so I think we can be thankful for small mercies. And there we have the internals. Nice to see they've socketed the chips. Intel, NEC, Motorola, good collection. We still have a few cans. Now, are these accessible from the underside? Yes, and they are soldered. Some nice big lumps of solder to come off to get into this. Inside is much nicer. You can see the original colour. Yeah, kind of grey outside. Oh dear goodness, I hadn't spotted that. Yep. Not surprising if you consider the cartridge port is just open. There's no flap to protect it, just open. There are a number of caps that we can see that will need replaced. Got a good number kicking about. And what is this beast here? 25 volt, 4700 UF. Quite a bit of a beast. Trying to work out if that, yeah, it is. It's one of the tri-leg caps. So it could be that it's just the third leg for stabilization, so that it doesn't actually flex and move. Atypical, they're all radials, and I'm going to guess every single one of these is indeed a Phillips. One thing I did note on the underside is, if I can find it again, I'm not sure what's down here, but some of the soldering is just dreadful. On certain areas it just looks like they've purposefully not put a lot of solder in places. This chip here, for example, I would be happier putting some proper solder. So there's, I mean, look at this, ridiculous. Well, these are all things that can be resolved. First though, let's see if we can desolder some of these points and get these RF shields out of the way. So that's all the heat shields off. Took a lot of heat, took a lot of time, there was a lot of solder to remove. Because I can't read all of the caps, what I've done is just taken a little diagram of the position and what they are. I'm now going to desolder all of the caps in one go and double check exactly what I've got. Well, that's all the caps out, they're all checked, they're all measured. I've got the details on the one cap I didn't have, and it's some interesting reading. Yeah, the big cap is well out of spec. We can see that one of the 1UF caps is at 2000, double, yeah, so the caps, while some of them are okay-ish, they need replaced. This is why we check. This is what, like a 40-year-old board, so let's make sure that this is done properly. So let's get some caps ordered up. So that's all the caps here bar this one, so I can continue. For you it'll be seamless, for me it'll take a little bit longer, but you may note I'm using a different type of cap here, and that's because these are mounted vertically. And a decent quality cap of the more current style is a lot cheaper. For example, this individual cap, yeah, that probably cost me the same as, you know, the 5 of these. So let's move on and start recapping. I've now had the delivery of a replacement cap, however, slightly different width of pinout, so I'm going to need to modify this slightly just to get it to go in. So that's been done and it's quite rigid, it's not going anywhere. However, we have what looks like a pair of voltage regulators. They've got some quite beefy heat sinks here, but it looks like they're keyed into the holders. I can see looking inside, both here and the same on the opposite sides, there are indents, so there could be a key point on the outside as there is here, and they're also sticking through the back. So what I may need to do to get these off is not just desolder the voltage regulators, but actually take the entire casings off at the same time, lift it off as a unit, and then remove the voltage regulators separately, so I can then replace and refit. Well, I do have to say, this is one of the worst circuit boards I've ever had to work on. It's horrible. It wicks the heat like crazy. The solder on it is dreadful. The pads lift really easily. I unfortunately lifted 2 pads, but they're not connected on the top surface, so that was lucky. However, it turns out that these, which mount on here, have these press fit sprung points which put pressure on the voltage regulator and hold it back. They were down so far I couldn't actually get under them. The minute I desoldered them and got a little bit of movement, I was able to get under, lift it, and then the minute it broke its grip, I was able to pull it out. So we'll get everything soldered back in. This will act as a guide because it does have a détente point for the voltage regulator hole to sit in. We'll get it built with some fresh thermal paste, and that hopefully, once this is done, we'll finish off this part of the board. We can test. If everything's fine, we can put all the parts back in and take it from there. So there we are, that's everything done. I found it easier to fit the voltage regulators on, force the caps back down using the lug points and a pair of pliers, and then just drop everything on as one unit. And now they're absolutely rock solid and in place. Fingers crossed that that's everything, and that this board is now fully recapped and functional. So let's pop it to the side. So this is the video output. So let's see if we can find out what's going on. I can see the circuit board that side. Let's pop it open and see what we've got inside. Do we have anything that needs worked on? Based on the size of it and the age of it, I'm going to guess yes. And yes, straight away. 1, 2, 3, 4 caps. And that's off. Ah, right. Okay, this is protected. Can we see anything in there? I can see one cap right in the corner. The blue colour is giving it away. Right, there's one cap. But am I going to be able to get that out? That is a good question. Oh dear God, okay. Looking at this, I can probably get the solder off here, and maybe here, but this is right down inside. I mean, the tip might reach, but look at the amount of solder. There's no way I'm going to be able to heat this enough to be able to get this off. Okay. I think that's one for another day. If it proves to be faulty, then I've no choice but to open it. What I might be able to do, if I have to, desolder, 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 maybe get down to desolder this, I hope. Take out some of this, because there are seams. So, how they've made these is each one of these just folds in all the way around. So if I can desolder three sides, I could bend it up, hopefully without destroying the circuit board. But that's quite strong steel. Right, at the moment that last one is not replaceable without some major destruction. However, I've got four I can get to, so let's replace those. Well, that's it fully recapped, bar that one I can't get to easily. Interestingly, most of these are actually okay. There's one that's a little high, so they've not had anywhere near as hard a life as the main ones. Next, we're going to look at the power supply. The original power supply, interestingly, it's marked as having two fuses, so it looks like it's got an input and an output fuse. 4 flat blade screws. Let's get into it and see what's in there. Well, now we're in. There are indeed two fuses. There's one tucked down here, and it's marked the same as the base, TO.14A, and therefore that one should be marked as the T4A, which it is. It's got some plastic just as insulation and a capacitor. So let's pop all this out. I can see it's marked negative that way, so let's pop it out. So with that all done, let's pop this back together. And there we go. Now I'm going to sort this next, because yeah, that's not safe. That's meant to have a grip on the outer, not on the actual wires, and I'm also going to clean these up. And with that done, it looks so much better. That'll make a good contact now. It's all clean, and more importantly, it's actually held on the outer, not on the inner cables, so prevents the inner cables from breaking. So let's test and find out what this is doing. So it says the output should be 10 volts. It's showing 14.68, that's fine. The voltage regulators can handle that. Maybe it's time for reassembly. So here we are, it's not fully assembled, there's no underside on it. Yep, but we're going to check before we go any further, because obviously I need to solder on all of the RF shields. So let's power this on. Sorry, working handheld here. And ready to retune. Oh, no, there we go. Select game. So the theory is, if I hit, okay, keyboard's not fully in. Reset is definitely working. So I don't think the keyboard membrane's in properly, or we've got a faulty keyboard membrane, and if that's the case then we are fairly stuffed, because I don't think they make membranes for this. However, we do have a display, so let's pop the keyboard membrane back off, reseat it and give it a go. Right, I have taken a small section of the membrane off just with a pair of scissors. We're back to select game. And it's running. So I'm now going to solder on, hold on, there we go. I'm now going to resolder all of the RF shields and do final assembly on this. We're now all assembled, bottom is on, we're back where we were. I've got the power supply here, plugged in, running. I've got cartridge 22, which is Space Monster apparently, and I've got one of the controllers plugged in. We're going to look at the controllers on a separate episode, along with the cartridges. So let's find out how this plays. Okay. Oh, I'm not very good at this, am I? In fact, there we are, game over. Oh, I'm dreadful. Okay. Yep. So the base shields act as your defense. However, when you lose a life, you've got to activate one. So yeah. Oh, okay. Well, there we go. I'll reset that. I don't think you need to see any more of my very bad game playing. Well, thank you for watching. I hope this was mildly entertaining. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next Retro Crazy.